Good evening, my children. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and the filthy animals that are watching. But we'll get more to the filthy, we'll do more about the filthy animals later. We'll get to that later. I also have some things to say, and some of you guys might not like it. Some of you guys might be a little bit upset, but don't worry, my children, because we're also going to give you a good time and give you some things that put a smile on your face and make you happy. And now I think we have a little surprise here to start out.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna say hi because I'm going to sleep now.
It's a little bit past her bedtime, but she wanted to be sure to say hi to you guys. So hopefully you guys appreciate it.
Dab on the haters and as a notification squad.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
joining us, Saki.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, go get some
Bye.
rest.
And remember to dab on the haters. Dab.
Okay.
Ignore
Thank
the
you for that. Thank you for the enlightened wisdom, Saki.
Welcome. Bye. Good night.
So, my friends, we'll get to your questions and comments. Thank you so much for joining us live. But first, there's a few things I'd like to talk about. And one of those things is that I've noticed something that I've become very aware, really the past few years, is how much deception there is in our society. How many people there are trying to fool us. They're trying to get us to think a certain way or believe certain things. I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine, he's an atheist, and he has the attitude that I don't believe in God because there's no absolute proof that a God exists. It's not definitively proven, so I'm an atheist. And I understand that. I think that type of thinking is perfectly understandable, perfectly rational. But then I saw he posted something on Facebook, and he posted a short video from the royal wedding a week ago. And it was a picture of Prince Harry reading his vows to the actress that he was marrying. And he said he had the caption, "Ladies, make sure you marry a man that looks at you like this." And I was thinking, this is the way a guy looks at a girl when he's performing for this elaborate show they're putting on, for this marriage that is very highly likely arranged, kind of a fake, phony marriage. And this is a guy that doesn't even think to stop and question things. Now, I don't know that the royal wedding is fake. I don't know it's arranged. But this is a family that's had arranged marriages for hundreds of years, and they would have a lot to gain by still doing this. But they just think, why not question something like that when we have no real proof or evidence that this guy really loves her? So why are you posting about it on Facebook? And there's all these people trying to deceive us. Even movies, when you think about it, are a deception. For instance, I watched that last Spider-Man movie a while ago, and there was a part in the movie where they suggest that the Washington Monument, well, they actually do more than suggest, but they suggest that the Washington Monument was built by slaves. And I was thinking, I don't think that sounds right. So I looked it up, and sure enough, it wasn't built by slaves, but that's what they want you to believe when you watch the movie. And everything in movies, that's really what they're about, even though they're like, well, we're not lying because we're putting out fiction. But even you watch some of these fights, you watch people, even simple things like you watch people having fight scenes in movies and they're punching each other bare knuckle, fighting like boxers, when in real life, if you take your hand that has all these small, fragile bones in it and you slam it into someone's skull, you're probably going to break your hand. But people see that and then they think that that looks like what a real fight looks like. If they get into a fight, they might do that themselves and break their hands. Even this week, Saki likes to play rough, and she was kind of fooling around, punching me in the stomach. But then she threw a punch and she hit my hip bone, and she hurt her hand. The stomach's a lot softer, uh, where it has flesh on it, muscle, fat, that kind of stuff. But then she hit solid bone with her hand, and she hurt her hand. She could have broke her hand. And I had to try to explain to her that, in movies you see people punching each other, or you see people, the only people that can get away with that are people that are boxers or MMA fighters that have padding on their hands that protects their hands. The hands are not designed for that. So you see all kinds of things, from very big things to very small things, that they're trying to deceive us with. And so much, even on the internet, is a deception. You see so many vloggers trying to tell you, like, make you think they're living the life, and then so many guys like, man, oh, I want to do that too. And I definitely try to be much more realistic in my vlogs, so many, and not give people the fantasy idea and make people feel bad about themselves. Give them something with a grain of salt. So what I'm saying is, you have to be very realistic things, and you have to question a lot of things that you see and be a little bit skeptical. We need people to be a little bit more skeptical. Even oh, we have a very assertive woman joining us, and that relates to last week's vlog where we talked about being assertive. But for instance, Alyssa Milano on Twitter, she always tweets out that we need open borders, let anyone come in. And the big controversy in the past week was President Trump called MS-13, which is one of the most violent gangs in the world. He referred to them as animals. Now, the only problem with that, the way I see it, is that's an insult to animals. But I actually used to live in a neighborhood full of MS-13. I even had a fight with one of them before I in this one air. First of all, a lot of people, when I say I lived in a neighborhood full of MS-13, they don't even believe me, I guess, because I'm white and I'm kind of clean cut looking. So when I mention that to people, because there's all these people on Twitter saying MS-13 are humans too, they shouldn't be degraded like that. These are people that murder people with machetes. They sell girls into prostitution. They rape women. These are the worst human beings that you could actually imagine. To call them animals doesn't even do it justice. It doesn't even paint an accurate picture. That's how bad these hombres are. But I even had a run-in with one of them where I used to manage an apartment building in Koreatown in Los Angeles, which, despite its name, there's not many Koreans living in Koreatown. It's mostly El Salvadorians. Many of the businesses in Koreatown are Korean, but the Koreans, is what happened is, Koreatown in like the 20s, the 30s, used to be a very nice neighborhood. There was even movie stars that lived there. I think Clark Gable used to live there. And then the Korean immigrants moved in and they kind of took it over and it became known as Koreatown. Then the El Salvadorians came in, and then the Koreans moved out. They moved out to more adjacent areas. But it's full of MS-13, and these people are completely terrible. I even had death threats by them before because I was living and working in Koreatown, and I was managing this apartment building.
Hello.
She's back.
She doesn't want to go to bed yet.
Does he want to see you?
I'm
just gonna write.
I was living and working in Koreatown when I was managing this apartment building, and one day I saw one of them spray painting, their gang sign MS-13, and I ran across the parking lot. This little guy turns around and it's funny, he puts his hands up and he goes, I'm sorry, like that, and I just like threw him into the wall hard. And there's all these other guys around. He wasn't around. Then I started like chasing after them, and they ran off. And they're like, we're going to come back. We're going to kill you and stuff. They came back. I had some of them arrested when they came. They actually came back, and I saw them out the window on the property. I called the police. The police came and got them. I don't know what happened. Probably nothing. But you have people like Alyssa Milano who probably lives in a gated community. And she knows the MS-13 aren't going to be in her neighborhood around her and her family and her children. They're going to be with people like me, maybe people like you. So it's very disingenuous of her to say, oh, I want all these people in there, but they'll live behind their gated community, or they'll have big walls around their house. These people are trying to fool you. They don't say what they mean. So these are things to be aware of. Even with Alyssa Milano, by the way, I noticed she blocked me on Twitter. Maybe talking about some of this stuff is why. But even with her hashtag #MeToo movement that she's a supposed leader in, even Rose McGowan, who I don't particularly like Rose McGowan kind of outed her because she was involved with Alyssa Milano was tweeting about trying to expose Weinstein or at least take credit for exposing him. But Rose McGowan pointed out her husband is an agent for CAA. CAA is the talent agency that tried to cover up and for many years did get his scandals covered up so they weren't known to the public. So really she's involved. Not that I like Rose McGowan, but she did out her as that. But all these people are very disingenuous, and I just want to talk about some of that because some of that's been on my mind a lot in the past week or two. And I look at your guys' questions and comments. Imabel, you can say something before I get to the other points I was going to make.
Hi guys, how are you? Thank you for joining us on this live stream. And hopefully you're having a great weekend. It's very late here. And I guess what time is it there? It should be like around morning, right?
Depends, yeah, probably afternoon, depending where they are in the day.
Speaking of everything that Travis has been discussing with you guys, first of all, I haven't been following Twitter and the social media concerning the MS-13 and these other issues. And I'm thankful that Travis always shares with me, the knowledge and just the things that are going on, just like these. I tried. I also read stuff online, but I just read other things. The questions that I have in mind would be first, why is it called? Curious question. Why is it called MS-13 anyways?
It's
And then
Mara Salva, something I can't pronounce,
right.
basically, something in Spanish.
And how long has they been, you know, has they been active?
I think since the
And
80s.
is it because of social media that now they're gaining all this
No, it's
bigger,
attention.
level of
It's
attention,
because
of
of
popularity or getting more attention?
it's because of Trump, and Trump is the first president, to my knowledge, to even mention their name, which at least making people aware of the problem. I mean, regardless of what you think of his other policies, I think it's a big thing that he keeps bringing up and talking about. Now, hopefully, something really tangible will happen with it. And you were just telling me you wanted to see the building that I used to manage in Koreatown.
Right.
We talked a little bit about that last week in last week's broadcast about that crazy guy that I used to work for that owned the building. But you were saying that you'd like to see that building because when you were in LA last year, I didn't take you by there. She was in LA, and I don't know if you saw the vlogs. We didn't vlog very much of the time we were in LA. I vlogged when I was there by myself. I vlogged a little bit more of that. But when you see Imabel's footage of her in LA, you didn't see very much, and she wasn't there very long. But maybe I'll take you there to the
That
building.
would be great. And another point that I have after listening to those things that you already shared with you guys is what is the biggest motivation of Elisa Milano to advocate whatever she's advocating right now?
Because she's fake. Like I said, she's trying to fool people into thinking she's kind of the opposite of what she is. She's okay with MS-13 and gang members living in neighborhoods with people like me or people like you, while she lives in a gated community, and her family are going to be they're going to be protected from them. So just
And
like the Me Too thing, she's trying to make it sound like she is the reason why Weinstein was exposed, and she's really trying to take the credit from other people. But really, her husband was probably behind the scenes. At least the company her husband worked for actively tried to cover up the scandal.
and another thing is there are great things and not and negative things about social media. I think one of the negative things is that um, is people who cannot really think for themselves or people who only rely on what is being fed to them, especially by celebrities or people, in power or like people they see on YouTube or TV or movies, etc. That's another thing that I think we should be wiser enough to discern. Just like I saw someone shared this video on Facebook. Can I just keep going, or you have
Yes, go
something
ahead.
in mind to already talk about? Yeah, it was a video of Michelle Obama talking to a group of women. What was that event again? Do you remember that?
I have no
And
idea
then
what.
I think she said something like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but basing on, I didn't really see the entire video, but some women were saying, we are women, and we have our own minds, and we are capable of thinking and deciding for ourselves, and we are wise enough. That's why we voted for Trump. And the others were saying like, oh, we should have voted for Clinton. That was during the previous, the latest election. And it's like they're saying they should have voted for Clinton just because she's a woman. I am a woman, but I think that's not enough. We have to, like, I don't know. It's just crazy. Everything. Like, that's why I don't really read a lot
Well, I don't
of
want to
these.
make this a political discussion by any means. I was just, it's funny because on the community page, if you go to my channel, then click on the community tab, you'll see I've been posting some polls, and some of them are, there you go, Anthony. Oh, Anthony Glass. He commented on one of my polls this week. Uh, he tells you what the name stands for, Mara Salvatrucha
Thank
13.
you.
He's from Texas. But anyways, I'll get to Anthony because I wanted to ask him a few questions, and while he's live on us, because he has some experience in this area. That's why I want to ask him. And I've been posting these polls on the community tab on YouTube. Just go to the channel and click community if you want to see it. But they've been getting a lot of interaction. And people are and a couple of the ones that I posted, which were maybe a bit provocative. One of them was MS-13R, and the answers could be you could either answer animals or filthy animals, and I think that's the one he responded to, Anthony. And I had another one uh, that I think some people got angry about, but there should be an obvious point to it. And that is one of the polls I posted was who would you rather have live in your neighborhood, MS-13 or Richard Spencer? Now, Richard Spencer is a guy, you might not like what he believes, you might not like what he says, and definitely I have issues with him, and he definitely wouldn't like someone like me, of course. But what would you rather have living in your neighborhood? The media would have us believe that Richard Spencer and his ilk are somehow a bigger threat to America than gangs like MS-13. Think about that. MS-13 brutally murders people, rapes women, sells girls into sex slavery, and the media takes the side of MS-13. Whereas this other guy, he's just a guy that, yeah, I don't like what he has to. I don't like some of what he has to say. I might not like some of his beliefs, but if he lived in my neighborhood, would I have any problems? Well, I can tell you this: when I lived in a neighborhood that actually had MS-13 in it, that was a problem. I was getting death threats. I was having the building that I managed go off on, get vandalized by them.
Yeah. You know what? I think I would like to send a shout out to our patrons who are joining us tonight. Is that okay, Travis?
Well, first let me, yeah,
Okay,
we'll,
go
we'll get
ahead.
to these people in the room now that are joining us live. Thank you guys. But let me ask Anthony this, as long as he's still in the room. You said that you worked a gang unit and you're retired. Hopefully you don't mind me mentioning that. Go ahead and share some of your experiences. I think that would be really interesting, Anthony. But let's greet the people in the room real quick that are joining us. We got Peter Rocco. Thank you, Peter Rocco, a great supporter.
Steve Dornbos, thank you for joining us.
We got Shibuya Kid. Greetings from Arizona. Edward asks, when are you going back to the Philippines? Well, where do you think we are right now? I think it's obviously nighttime, so we must be somewhere in the Eastern Hemisphere right now. If it's nighttime right now and you're watching us live, I don't know where you are, my friend. Edward Latz.
Another patron. Hi there.
It's just afternoon in New York. Yeah, Edward supports us on Patreon. Thank you so much for that. Uh, the other Edward is from Mississippi. I have not been to Mississippi, but yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that part of the country. Would you agree that the media zooms in on the worst parts of a community? No, not necessarily. Like kind of like we've just been talking about. They've been trying to cover up and make excuses, especially CNN for MS-13, telling us that we shouldn't be calling them animals, that that's wrong. Well, what about them brutally murdering people? Isn't that worse than the strong words used to talk about them? So that would be my answer. But I think the media likes to talk about negative things in general and blow that up.
Well, it's just basic. It's kind of like yellow journalism, and
Yeah, no doubt
so
about it. So I'd like to move on now to something that I've been talking about some things that I have to say might upset you, and that is I was just editing the new vlog right before this live stream, and at the end of it, this is going to be a really good vlog, by the way, that's coming out. We got a lot of, it covers a lot of stuff. It covers some behind the scenes stuff of my life, some general things about Filipino culture. But then at the end, I talk about things and I answer a question that I'm often asked. And I recorded this response to this question that I'm often asked. And I knew at recording it, this is something that it's going to surprise some people probably. Some people are even going to be upset and offended by it, even though I don't think they should, but that's always the way it is. People get offended very easily, especially when you say certain things or think certain things or believe certain things. And just taking care of something technically. So we're going to have that, but I go off and I talk about this topic kind of at length, but watching it, knowing it's going to upset and offend people, but also I think some people are going to understand where I'm coming from, and somehow it's going to help inform and educate people and provide a way of thinking that maybe they can apply to their life, even though I'm talking about my life. But I'm going to do another video, I think, just for Patreon, for all you guys that are supporting us on Patreon, because even though I talk at length, I think I need to expand even on what I'm talking about. With this vlog coming out, it's going to be a really great vlog. We got a lot of entertainment in the first 2/3, and then the last third is basically just me talking about this thing that I think is going to upset people. Even when Imabel, I recorded it outside this restaurant, she didn't know I was recording it. At the time I recorded it, I thought, well, this is on my mind. I'll record this. Maybe I will never upload it. Maybe no one will see the light of day if I watch it and I think it's too offensive. But Imabel grabbed my camera later and she watched it and she goes, this is going to offend some people, I think. And I said, yeah, I know. I don't know if I'm going to include it in one of the vlogs or not. But I can see where people might be upset, even if I personally don't think they should be. So we got people still talking about the gangs. Well, we've moved on, but it's nice to see your guys' thoughts on it. Let me see. Travis, are you interested in watching the UFC? I saw some of your comments. Oh, I try and watch every UFC event I can. Bellator too. I don't just like the UFC. I like any MMA basically, especially the other ones that are more main competitors, which is mainly just Bellator at this point. I watch that. I watch pretty much every UFC event. I don't know if I'll watch the one tomorrow because I think it's at kind of a weird time and I'll still be sleeping. I'll probably catch the replay at night on TV though. We have Sam says, I like that you talk straightforward. It's good. You know, it's funny because there was a point when I made this one vlog when my friend from college came out and visited. It's one of my earlier vlogs. Some of you guys may have seen it. If not, there's a playlist of my life vlog series. It's towards the beginning. But I did these vlogs with my friend, and he was new in the Philippines, and I was just getting his general impression. His I recorded his honest initial impression of, oh, it's dirty, it smells bad, the buildings are really dirty. And this guy is also a guy that he's a bit of a clean freak, and even professionally, that's what he does for a living. He owns a cleaning business where they actually clean using power cleaners the outside of buildings' walls. So of course he's going to notice all that stuff. And then I didn't see him again before he left. I did a couple videos with him, like at the end of his week or 2 week trip, however long it was, where I didn't get to see like what him, his good thoughts of it, his follow up. But people got so angry at me, and they're like, and then I was talking to my friend Kevin, the Asian American guy who you've probably seen in some of my videos, who doesn't live here anymore. But I told him, people got so angry at me, and they got angry at my friend, and that's not really what I intended. Maybe I should have just told them to say some nice things to please people. And he actually did have a really good time. You guys, I mean, people just read it as very negative. But people were so upset and offended, and I said maybe I should have just only focused on the positive and just had them say good things to please people. And my friend Kevin said, no, because that would be really fake. And the reason I like your videos is because they're very real. So, and that thanks to Kevin, that made a very big impression. Even if people are going to get angry at me, I should try to be real and fair and balanced and stuff. I'm a very positive guy, and a lot of people know me as a positive guy, but it helps people to show some realism. So
Anthony Glass actually said something about it, what he did.
why don't you read what he did?
Yeah, Anthony Glass said, I was a police officer and then a deputy sheriff. I retired as a state parole officer in Texas, where I was a gang officer. I spent about 10 years as a gang officer. Wow.
So I'm sure he's had a
He's
lot of
very
interesting
well
experiences.
experienced. Yeah.
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 Well, thankfully he got out of it safe, because of course that's a
Yes,
dangerous
that's a tough,
line of work.
that was a tough assignment you had.
So can you take over for a minute? I'm just gonna.
Go ahead. I think I'm just gonna look at the comments while Travis is taking a very short break. Let me try to go to the beginning. Well, guys, if you're not able to start the live stream, hopefully the recording is complete. You can still catch the recording of this later. Let's see. Hi, Tia Rose, Buena Vista. The early birds. Martin Sony. Hi there. Oh, Steve, how's your dearest wife? Are you gonna visit the Philippines anytime soon? And let's see. Let's thank you for joining us too. Joel George Outlet, Chris Smith. Thank you so much. And let's see. Um Zadie07. Hello, Travis. It's been a while, my friend. I subbed like 4 years ago. This is awesome. Glad to see you live. Waiting. Regards to Ate. Cheers, I guess. Hi there. Is that me when you said Ate? And let's see. Amazing Nine Soldier. Thank you for joining us. Peter Rocco, how are you now? Thank you for being supportive to us on Patreon, and I hope everything is, doing well on your end.
And I'm going to try and shoot that Patreon exclusive video tomorrow. That for anyone that supports us on Patreon, they'll be able to see it. It won't be available to the general public.
Someone from Arizona. That's easy, right?
We read through those, so.
Shibuya Kid, thank you for joining us. Yeah,
bottom.
I think you already read those. And
Robert Wilson says UFC, in my opinion, is borderline barbaric. I would not disagree with that, my friend. I love watching it. I love following it. I'm a big fan. But that's something I would not disagree with, because if it was, I wouldn't want my child doing it. I wouldn't want someone that I love doing that. And I think it would be a lot better. It would look more barbaric, but it'd be a lot safer if they didn't allow them to wrap their hands and wear gloves, because now they can hit each other over and over again without breaking their hands. Whereas you wouldn't have as much punching if they went back to the old days of you have to fight barehanded. Now they don't do that because to the general public that would look very barbaric and it'd be very bloody. It'd be even bloodier than it is now, but it would be a heck of a lot safer. And I like watching these guys, and they're doing it of their own free will. But of course, you don't really want to see these guys get seriously hurt, especially later in life, have all these problems from getting all these concussions. It's definitely barbaric, and it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's about the only sport that I watch. Uh, King, New Jersey, welcome back. I thought you guys were dead or something. Are you still in Manila? Well, kind of as we said earlier, you can see it looks like it's probably nighttime where we are, so we must be somewhere in the Eastern Hemisphere if this is live, because if you're in the Americas in the Western Hemisphere, obviously it would be the middle of the day, depending on what time zone you're in. Someone with a Korean name that I'm sorry I can't read that because I don't read Korean, though I used to have a friend in Koreatown, a Korean guy that went to my gym, and he said it's very easy to learn to read Korean. That's what he told me. He didn't teach me, but he said he could teach me, so it's very easy. But this person with the Korean name says, "Do you still keep in touch with Brock Lesnar?" And for those of you that don't know, I used to train a little bit with Brock Lesnar. Brock's older than me, but it's been a very long time since that happened, since I trained with him, because he went to college. His first couple years in college, he went to a junior college in my hometown. And even though I'm younger than him and I didn't go to that college, when I used to go to the college when I was a younger kid to go train with the college guys, because just to get better training partners, because I could beat everyone so easily in the junior high and high school level. So I'd always have to try and go against older people just to get a better training experience. But no, I don't keep in touch with Brock. I'm glad that he's so famous. I don't think he likes being famous, but obviously he seems to be doing well in life, at least financially. So I think that's a good thing. He has this image as a very harsh guy, and I think of course that's very true to him in a way. But I think a lot of people didn't realize when he was going to college in Bismarck, he was actually known as a pretty nice guy. Even if he's kind of a big, scary, intimidating looking guy, he's actually was a pretty nice guy for the most part. I mean, at least through my experiences. I'm not saying we were best friends. Keep in mind, I'm younger than him, so of course, as a younger kid, but I never had any problems with him. His college teammates seemed to like him quite a bit as a person. So that's what I have to say about Brock Lesnar. But like I said, I'm not his best friend being younger than him, but everyone seemed to like him. He had a lot of funny stories that he would tell before practice. I think that's something that would surprise people. He had a very good sense of humor, and he was a fairly funny guy. Mitten Sony asks, do you think movies have a higher responsibility? And the answer is no, not necessarily. And the problem with movies today is one of the reasons I only watch old movies and TV shows is they're always trying to brainwash you and convince you to their way of thinking. And it's not very in line with most people in middle America, and it's not entertainment anymore. Kind of like the whole thing with the NFL players kneeling, which I don't really care too much about one way or another personally, but it turns the fans off. Like me, I watch the UFC. That's the one sport I watch. I watch that to relax and have a good time. We have political messages and everything else. Let's leave the politics out of sports. And football fans were very turned off to that. And some people are complaining, which ironically, the people that are complaining and saying it's an infringement of First Amendment rights, those are the ones that say, oh, well, companies like Google, YouTube, Twitter, if they ban people for certain speech, well, they're private companies. They can do what they want. Well, so is the NFL. And Saki's back.
I was coughing.
But my point was, people don't want to watch sports and get bombarded with these political messages many of the fans don't agree with anyways. So the NFL saw it as they saw, hey, this is hurting our bottom line. This is hurting our money. And a lot of these players that complain about it, they're too dense to understand that, well, they're making lots of money, but where do they think that money comes from? The league has to make money itself. If the league loses money, they're not going to be able to pay these guys with their overpriced salaries. So
I saw someone asked if we know or if we saw you referred to it as Trash Mountain. Are you referring to the Smoky Mountain?
I missed that comment.
Oh, and then someone actually responded. Just Reed says Smoky Mountain, the garbage mountain that was demolished around President Rama's time. Try Payadas, the garbage zone, if you're looking for garbage mountain. In response to Mr. Tilton.
I'm scrolling back.
Yeah, that's it.
Anthony Glass says, as to living in the same neighborhood with MS-13 or Richard Spencer, my choice would be none of the above. But if forced to make a choice, I would have to say Spencer. Though, like you, he would have problems. Well, like I said, you might not. The point of the poll of saying who would you rather have living in your neighborhood, Richard Spencer or MS-13, you might not think either one are ideal. But to put things in perspective, like I said, the media is telling us this guy, Richard Spencer, which for all we know, and a lot of people suspect that Richard Spencer is actually an undercover CIA agent, which, I mean, it could be because this guy's supposed to be this white nationalist. How many white nationalists do you see them putting on mainstream media shows like CNN shows and stuff like that? It seems like the media seems to love this guy. You know, how did he get so in with the media, especially the type of guy that they normally would hate? It seems a little suspicious, so a lot of people are suspicious about him, that he's really a spook, a CIA agent, something that a lot of people don't really know what his real deal is. He could be totally sincere. Maybe he really does believe everything he says and he's totally as he appears, but it kind of comes back to critical thinking again and questioning things. Am I just going to believe this guy when he says that he's this white nationalist guy and he wants a pure white America or pure white country? Or, like, are you going to start to question and think, well, gee, why is this guy getting so much love from the mainstream media if he really is supposedly this? Mm-hmm. And I mean, so a lot of people are very suspicious. That's one reason to have issues with him. But obviously, this is just a guy. Richard Spencer is a guy that dresses very nice and clean cut, very dapper. And then he says things that a lot of people won't like, and he believes things, if he really believes what he says he believes, that a lot of people won't like. But the guy's not a violent thug, of course. Whereas MS-13, that's their whole business. It's based in violence and fear and intimidation and all that stuff. But let me see these other ones. You addressed that comment. We got Ray D'Alessandro. Thank you. He's joining us on his lunch break.
He's one of our patrons.
We get a question here. Who's your favorite UFC fighter? I'm going to go old school with this. And first of all, I like most of the fighters, and I definitely respect them all. Some I like a lot less than others. I can easily tell you who some of my least favorites are. Michael Bisping, mainly because I think he's gotten a lot of victories, especially at least earlier in his career, that he didn't really deserve to get, like when he beat Matt Hamill in England. That was a total robbery. Chris Lieben, I'm not a big fan of, but my favorite, I'm still going to have to go old school with this. I'm going to say Randy Couture because, of course, I'm a wrestler, and he was one of the earlier wrestlers getting into the UFC and doing well and winning a UFC championship. So I got to go with Randy Couture still after all these years. I got to say that's my favorite fighter. But I like most fighters. And I really like the upper weights. I like the light heavyweights and the heavyweights. That's why I like following the most, the big boys. Because I'm a big boy myself, and it's just more fun to watch. They're more dangerous, more threatening, because there's always that threat. If anyone lands a punch, it could be over like that. So that makes it very exciting,
so
that not knowing what's going to happen.
I mean, the time.
We have We got Cowboy here. I'm about to retire from the law enforcement field. As you know, I will be moving to the Philippines full time. I have seen firsthand what MS-13 has done, Animals with No
Wow.
Soul. Well, if you're moving to the Philippines, you might want to check out my book that's all about moving to the Philippines. I address a lot of things that I don't normally address here. The link is in the description. You can read it right off of Amazon. Matt Gustafsson says, that's right. Is a Scandinavian name, so sorry if I messed it up a little bit there. That's right, the football players are employees. They can be regulated. I have restraints on my behavior as an employee as well, which, I don't really care one way or what they do one way or another. If they're going to stand, kneel, sit, whatever, it's nothing to me. But it's hurting the NFL's bottom line, their finances. So of course they're going to want to curb it. And by the way, I don't think the NFL said that if they go to another event where they play the national event anthem on their own time when they're not actively supposed to be on the work clock. Obviously, if they do it on their own time, I'm sure they can kneel or do whatever they want during the national anthem. So it's not like they're saying they can't ever kneel during the national anthem, just not while they're at work. Because hey, when we go to work, when we have a job, how many of us are allowed to do political protests while we're on the work clock? I don't know any jobs that do that, and I don't think football should be any different. But Flawless Philly says, wow, that's crazy that you used to train with Brock. Used to watch him growing up on WWE.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. We all knew that he was going to be very good in amateur wrestling because when he came to Bismarck as a freshman, when he was about 18, 19, I suppose, uh, he was this farm boy from South Dakota, maybe 6'2", 6'3", about 215 pounds, 1.5. So not very big for a heavyweight, but he was very, like, you could tell that he was going to get good, especially with some good coaching, and he was just going to mature more physically, and he was very quick and very athletic, especially at heavyweight where you have a lot of slow, unathletic guys. I mean, you don't have to necessarily have the best technique. If you're more athletic, I mean, that's going to be huge when you're going against those bigger guys.
Mhm.
And when you get that big, size being bigger can actually be a disadvantage, especially if it's, you're just kind of fat and immobile. Like, he was not a fat guy, obviously. He wasn't as jacked as he later got. I think, like, definitely when he transferred to the University of Minnesota for his junior and senior year, he got as big as a house. That's for sure. Uh, Flawless Philly says, hey Travis, just curious, do you ever think that 9/11 was a false flag event? Well, boy, these days on YouTube, we're not allowed to discuss a lot of things. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble with the thought police. But that's quite a controversial topic you want me to answer, but I'll say this. A lot of things I don't really know what to believe, but I think that we shouldn't just accept at face value everything our government tells us. So that's about all I know. I know a lot about conspiracy theories and things like that. That's not one of the ones that I'm into as much. I tend to believe the official story more on that one, but probably shouldn't believe everything. And the truth is, I don't know. I really don't. I don't have any kind of inside information on that. So if I was going to tell you what I think, it would be merely an opinion, and I
Mhm.
don't have many facts on that. Let me see. Did you know that? Do you know that Nick? Well, he has all the UFC questions. You know, Nick Diaz got arrested for domestic violence. Yeah, I heard something about that today, but I don't really know the details of it.
Really?
Tooth Decay says, love the red pills you drop. I didn't come to Asia looking for a spouse, but I too am glad I found one and I'm happy with my life. What do you think feminism will do to the West in the end? Oh, well, first of all, let me say I'm glad that you found a spouse that you love and that you're happy with. I'm very glad to hear that. What do I think feminism will do to the West in the end? Unfortunately, nothing good. I don't think any good will come out of it. And it's not because I hate women. As I've said in some of my other videos, I love women, I care about women, I want what's best for women. It's just me, I disagree with some other people on what's actually best. And I'm not trying to keep women from doing things. Imabel's uh, worked. She had a very good job when I met her, uh, and she still works. And I'm not against that by any means whatsoever. But I think a lot of women have been brainwashed into thinking things are good for them that probably
Hmm.
aren't in the long run.
Right.
What I think you hate feminism more than me.
Is that it?
Yeah,
I
you. I
just
think she
don't.
talks
I
about it
just
more than
don't
me.
want. I just don't want women to advocate
I'll get a drink while
something.
you talk about this. You might want to
To
get a little closer for the microphone.
sure. I just don't want women to support or advocate something just because that's what we're being fed by the media or what we're being fed by, you know, people in power, celebrities, and all these other, big people. We have women as a woman. I know I'm blessed with my mind. I have a mind of my own that I have to use to, to do my own research, to study, to check out, the information on the internet and have that strong discernment. And I always say this as a Christian, I always say this that we are all blessed with the presence of the Holy Spirit in our lives. And that's why we have this discernment that we can have. So, I definitely I do not support people who say we have to vote for a woman just because she's a woman. I mean, it's all about what the person is capable of doing. And why do they have to dictate women to do what to do? Because it's like, don't you know, we can also think. You know what I mean? And
Well, something I'd like to say, Isabel, you're the most assertive woman I've ever met, and one of the most assertive people that I've ever met, and that's what I really love about you. That's why
thank you.
you're my sidekick here when we do these videos, when we do these
Mhm.
live streams.
I'm
So I
trying
do
to be
most of the
tolerant.
talking, and I'm probably more used to being on camera. Although you used to host a radio show yourself, so you're used to being on there. Well, we kind of people. Some people say, why does Travis do all the talking? Why doesn't he let Isabel talk? Well, the idea is it's my channel with my name on. It's my show, and she's my sidekick here to support me. But in real life, she does most of the talking, and I'll have her talk to people for me, and she handles a lot of things for me because she's simply better at it, and she's more assertive, and she's very knowledgeable in that realm, more so than me. So in real life, she does more talking than me.
Well, I just do what I gotta do, and I know, you and I are blessed with different kinds of talents and skills that we have to use not only to benefit ourselves, but to benefit the people around us. So I would say I just do what I have to do and what I can do.
Well, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week. You got to be careful about being too much of a nice guy because people will walk right over you. You need to learn to be assertive, and that's something people can learn from you. You don't let people walk all over you. You're very much of a fighter, more so than me. And I'm almost starting to think, because my philosophy has always been to err on the side of caution and just let things slide. But you're kind of the opposite of me, which is good because it balances things out. But now I'm starting to think maybe it's better to be a little bit more on the mean or selfish side, err more on that side than on the cautious side,
I don't
which kind of goes against my
I I
personality a
don't
little bit,
aim
but
at
I'm
being
learning.
I don't aim at being selfish or what's the other word you used? It's more about if I know that
Hmm.
something should be done, then it should be done. but I don't just fight or argue with people just to, to make it, just to embarrass people or to humiliate them or to just show off. It's more about if I think something should be done, which is beneficial to whoever is concerned, then the issue should be addressed, you know. But I would say there are also times that we just have to be quiet, especially if the people we're dealing are fools. Even the Bible says that we can't really fight fools. If you fight fools, then you also be a fool.
Well, going back to being assertive, I get so many questions about how do I say stay safe in the Philippines or I'm traveling in some of these other countries. And being assertive is a way to stay safe. Otherwise, people will talk you into doing things that you shouldn't be doing if you're afraid to say no to them. Even like going back to last week's live stream where I talked about my boss when I was managing that building, he tried to get all his different apartment building managers that managed all the buildings they owned, and they owned a lot, to go to court for him and lie under oath, which is a serious crime. So be assertive. You definitely don't want people talking you into breaking the law for them, which can be hard if someone is your boss because psychologically there's a perception of this person has power and authority over me. I should just do what they say. They're higher than me. So you got to be very careful, and you have to learn to be assertive. It will get you out of it'll keep you from getting in a lot of trouble actually if you can be assertive and assert. You got to be a little bit selfish at times. You got to think about what's best for you, and that's going to keep you out of trouble.
I agree with what Matt Gustafson said. Being assertive and nice are two different traits. You can be assertive while being nice. It just takes much more self-control. Well, I would say, modesty aside, I have I can or I am assertive, but I have my special way of being assertive. I don't have to shout or yell. I think it's a God-given gift for me to be able to talk to people, you know. So you don't really have to fight or do something negative. But of course, sometimes, you know the limitations. That's what I'm trying to say. Ray Alessandro, he said he got up to make a chicken salad sandwich and came back to his table with only an empty roll. Why? Now you make me
Well,
hungry.
where are you at right now, Ray? Are
I
you at
think he's in
work
lunch
or
break. Yeah, I
okay?
think he's at
That's what I
work.
was thinking. He's at work
Yes.
as opposed to being home.
Paulette said, I really love church there in the Philippines, so much different than in the US. Why is that? I'm curious. And what kind of church is this?
So the
Anyways,
question I have for you guys is though, should I take Imabel to show her the apartment building that I used to manage, that I used to live at, uh, in the neighborhood full of all the gangsters, full of all the filthy animals? Should I show Imabel that in real life? Should I actually take her that? Leave us a comment and let us know if you and hey, maybe if I take Imabel to show her that, maybe I can video it and show you guys in a vlog or something. So if you guys would like to see that, although when I was in LA by myself last year, not many people watched that vlog. I thought it was a pretty decent vlog.
mhm.
Um, so just leave us a comment and let us know if that's something that you're interested in seeing.
I know we're moving on to another point to talk about, but just going back a little bit, what I was sharing with you guys is that these days, when you do what's right, people will actually, mock you for that. People will insult you, laugh at you, or they will consider you as the bad person. But that's how it is now, I think. But
Yeah, and it makes you think that you're not doing the right thing. I mean,
that should be, yeah, it's easy to say, it's easy for you to think or conclude that I might not be doing the right thing, even though you know in yourself that you're doing the right thing. But again, hopefully you guys don't mind. I'm just sharing. I openly share about what I know, and my faith is that even God said we are not supposed to conform to this world. And, that's just how life goes. The world works. but we don't have to, be like the world.
Well, part of my point was these days, a lot of the times you'll think that something's right, and then maybe later you'll learn it's not. Especially we have so many people, like I said, trying to convince us of certain ways of thinking, trying to convince us that certain things are right. But then you realize later, because me personally, I've changed my opinions a lot in the past few years. So you start to learn that, well, maybe some things I do are not okay. And by the way, it's not like I'm here preaching and saying I've been some perfect person throughout my whole life. That this part, and I don't claim to be any better than my audience. I don't claim to be you better than you talking to. We all make mistakes, but then you start to learn. You do things maybe for a while, and you think that they're right or they're okay. Then eventually you kind of learn, hey, I shouldn't have been doing that. That's not a good thing. So
Right,
you're convinced that something's okay or something is right, but then you later have a change of heart.
right,
That's
right.
why I'm very forgiving when someone maybe like, especially someone like, well, we talked about Rose McGowan earlier. If you look at her behavior in the 1990s, she was showing up at red carpet events basically naked on the red carpet. There's pictures on the internet. You can Google it if you don't believe me. But obviously, she was using sex to sell herself. And now she's coming out and saying she was violated and stuff, when really that was her whole selling point that she tried to use. And some people could have a change of heart. Maybe she did have a change of heart, although I don't think she really did. She just
Mhm,
saw an opportunity.
mhm.
I'm no fan of hers either. But if like say let's say a woman is really slutty or something when she's young and stuff, but then maybe when she's 29, 30 years old, whatever, she's like, hey, you know what, I wish I wouldn't have been doing that. I thought that behavior was okay, but now I see that that's less than ideal to behave. And then they have a change of heart and they kind of become the opposite or do something different.
Well, no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. And I agree with what you said. And what the good news is, we are transformed from glory to glory. Not my word, but God's word, by the way. Um, there are also many things that were clearly not right or not appropriate in the past or when we were young or even during the childhood days when our parents or grandparents were our grandparents were, but now people are making that thing right or appropriate. Like, just because many people do something doesn't make it right. Anyways, just an observation. I'm sure you know what I mean.
Anthony Glass says better about whether I should take you to the building that I used to live in and manage. He says better to pull it up on some map service and show her a whole lot safer.
What's map service?
Like, the like Google Maps or something
Okay,
like
okay,
that,
okay.
and just show you a picture of it,
So
I guess.
so
I've
yeah.
actually, you've seen a picture of it before. You've seen a picture of
So
the outside, you've seen
Anthony
pictures of the
does
inside.
not recommend me to be there physically.
But what do you other guys think? Should I bring him
But
about
thank
there?
you, Anthony, for your concern.
He's looking
I
out for your
appreciate that.
safety.
Yes.
If
Yes.
I do bring you there, which if you guys think I should, just say so in the comments section. But maybe we can even go on the inside, maybe like find out who the current manager is and take you into an empty unit just to show you what it was like. Maybe they'd be understanding.
Sure.
Uh, I'm sure whoever's currently managing it, hates the guy that owns it. But like I said, it was a learning experience
Maybe
working for
he
that
changed
maniac.
and
No,
he's a better person now.
no, not happening.
Blade said he's in a Caesar's casino. Okay.
He's in the
I'm in the
Caesars,
Caesar's casino employee cafeteria.
so
Oh.
Ray's in the Caesars casino. In what city? Go ahead and tell him if you want, Ray. We'll leave that to you.
Oh, thank you. He said one of my coworkers, hotel's check-in girl here, said to tell him about that she has a pretty smile. Thank you so
Well, that's
much.
very nice.
Thank you.
Maybe I should take her to where he lives.
I should go there.
I don't think I've been to where he lives either. Cowboy says, yes, take her, Travis.
With feelings.
I like that. I like that. Some enthusiasm,
Hold on,
some
what is this?
excitement. The last one there.
Oh, okay. Let me see. comments are kind of moving fast. So
But I like that enthusiasm, Cowboy. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Black Waltz 313, or 313, is that your area code of your telephone number? Because if that is your area code, I know the area that you would be in. You would be in Detroit if your area code is 313.
Oh.
Is that where you're coming to us from, Black Waltz, in the 313 of Detroit, Michigan?
Unless it's March 13.
He says, "Hi, Travis, Imabel. Enjoy your content and your life experience and knowledge sharing with everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much."
Thank you, Black Waltz 313.
I think
And
he's in Detroit, which you wanted to visit too. She wanted me to take her there, like at least to my college, my university, which is outside of Detroit. I went to college outside of Detroit, and she said, she was interested in going there, but I said, geez, I don't know. I have no plans on going to Michigan ever again, though I wouldn't mind going,
See,
but
you're right.
it's so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is he there?
Yes.
So I guess he's in Detroit. Chris Smith is also from Michigan. Where are you from, Chris?
Right.
In Michigan. But Imabel was saying, could you take me to your university in
because
Michigan?
I showed him my university.
I showed her pictures of my university, and
So-
it looks beautiful on their website and everything.
My hair is being blown by
Yeah,
the
your hair is.
sun.
You got a lot of flyaways.
I don't really like that.
Anyways.
Spikes keep scratching
She was
my
asking me
face.
if I would take her to Michigan. And I said, well, gee, I wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't mind going to Michigan, but it's so far out of the way from anywhere that I foresee myself being. But I mean, hey, sometimes things come up that are unexpected in life, and you find yourself. We didn't expect to be spending my birthday in Guangzhou, China last year.
I prayed for an out-of-the-country celebration for you, though, and
which we didn't even have to pay for. It was a
I
happy
would say
accident.
That was an answered prayer.
I think that's one of my best videos, my birthday video last year where we were in China, where we spent it in China.
I said next time we will be in Japan, but we're not gonna be there yet.
Well, we're not gonna be there on my birthday.
If we choose like a flight with a stopover in Japan, maybe that will happen.
But yeah, that video I thought turned out great. That was probably one of the most fun experiences of my life, that day that we spent in China last year for my birthday. And like I said, what made it even better, part of what made it great was we didn't have to pay for it. I wasn't worried about the money. It was, since we got stuck there on a very long layover, and then we met that very nice Chinese young man. Be fun to hang out with that guy again. But the video is really cool. Check it out.
But that was fun. At least we were not in a hurry to go back, and we were together. Unlike the first experience of mine when I got stranded there.
Black Walt says Michigan is expensive. I wouldn't know because I haven't been there for so long, and like I said, I don't really foresee myself. I mean, I'd love to visit again. I would definitely love to visit again. Where in the Detroit area do you live? Give me a general area. Maybe I would know it. But I haven't been there for so long.
Travis usually tells me the map. He kind of shows his palm of his hand. Show me the map, right?
Yeah, for Michigan, it's very interesting because it's like that. And if you want to do the Upper Peninsula, you go like that. Because what's weird about the state of Michigan is it has two parts. It has two parts of the state. They're both peninsulas. They don't touch each other. There is a bridge that can take you across.
So is it an ocean?
A big bridge. Well, the Great Lakes. They're
okay.
like oceans, but they're kind of close there, but they don't touch. So it's really strange. And culturally too, they're very different. Both weather, they're very different, and culturally, they're different. What's called the Upper Peninsula, and then the main part where Detroit is, that's the Lower Peninsula. But you can be so Detroit would be right around there. Chris is from Grand Rapids. I think that's somewhere over there in the western part of the state. So, like I said, I'd love to visit Michigan and my old stomping grounds, but I haven't been there since I graduated from college and got in my car and drove out. But yeah, if there's a chance that ever presents itself. Bruce says he was born in Detroit, but he lives outside of it for 52 years before escaping to Florida. Where outside of Detroit did you live? I'd probably know that. Cowboy says he loves Japan, very expensive. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel
Yeah,
about it too. I love Japan, but it's expensive. Even McDonald's
really.
is a lot more expensive over there.
Michael McIlvoy. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing it right. Hi there. And then, where's Penn State?
I'm trying to see the comment we were.
Brian Kopp said,
Oh, Brian Kopp, he says, I love your channel. He says his
"Thank you,
university is
Brian.
Penn State. Well, where's Penn State? Where do you think it would be based off the name?
Pennsylvania."
Yes. I believe that was started by Benjamin Franklin, if I'm correct. Maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong. But what Penn State, what I really know it for is they have an amazing wrestling team there, and I think they have the best wrestling team in Division One college wrestling right now. For the last few years, they have an amazing coach there. He was probably the best American wrestler to ever live, Cale Sanderson, and now he's coaching there, and he's becoming just an incredible coach, I guess. So, but that's what Penn State. That's what I know it for. One of my assistant coaches in college, he was an All-American for Penn State himself.
Cool. Someone's joining us, staying up late with us as well. Sam Lambit and High City Negros Oriental. He's there. Let's see.
Paul says, I'm getting ready to leave Portland. It's too expensive going to Philippines September or October. Are you going permanently, Paul? You might want to check out my book on Amazon. The link is in the description. But Portland, I would imagine that Portland, from what I hear, is extremely expensive. It's an extremely liberal city. I hear
Oh,
there's a lot of weirdos and bums there. They even have a show called Portlandia, which I guess kind of makes fun of Portland a little bit. But I think the local people love it. But I've never been to Portland either. But it's a very liberal city. I hear it is fairly nice though, even though it has a lot of weirdos and a lot of bums over it. I hear it. I've heard some good things about it.
mm-hmm,
We have Andreas is from Stockholm,
mm-hmm.
Stockholm, Sweden. I take it. We've got Michael from Lemon Grove, California, which I think is in Orange County, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too familiar with Orange County though.
Mm-hmm.
More the
Let's
Los Angeles
see.
area and the western Los Angeles area, and like the part of the valley around North Hollywood, Burbank, Studio City, that area.
Mm-hmm. I asked actually Matt earlier what church he was talking about, and he said his experience with the church that he attends in the Philippines, that people attending are full of life and excited to be there. In America, really? Well, that's why maybe when I go back to America, I want to go to a Christian church, then I would see. But well, good to hear
Well,
that.
uh,
Maybe it just depends on the
the
group.
the question is, should we? And that you guys can comment on this and let us know what you think. Should we get married in America, or like
What do you mean?
remarried,
We're already
or
married.
renewal of vows or something in a church wedding? Is that something we should do? I think my dad kind of wants it, like a church wedding, which would be more, like I said, I think a renewal of vows or whatever you call it. But it's something we've been thinking about doing just for my family, for my parents, mainly for my dad that wants a church wedding. And I was saying, we were just talking about this the other night, but I was saying if we're gonna do a church wedding, I think I'd want to do it in my old church. Not that it matters that much, but in the church that I grew up going to,
Mm-hmm.
just for the heck of it, I guess. Might as well, like, home field advantage. Maybe you feel, maybe it's also the church that I grew up going to, which we showed in one of the vlogs from last year when you were there. That's actually the church where my parents got married in.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, but leave us a comment and let us know if you think we should have a church wedding.
Black was 313 Travis. Are you considering making another book sharing advice on being in the Philippines, or do you feel that the information you share in your book is a good all around book of advice?
Well, that's a great question. And the answer is yes and no. Yes, I'm considering making more books because it's very, I think the book actually, it's fairly, it's condensed. I did it so you can get through it very quick and there's no filler. So you can actually read the whole thing from cover to end before giving up on it, because there's so many books. I have some good books, but they're like that thick. And even if they're really good and useful, like after a while, you just kind of give up because it's too much. So I tried to cut all the fat and just give you information straight to the point, and you can get through it really quick. But I've considered writing other books about other things, not necessarily having to do anything with the Philippines, because I think they could be of great benefit to people. And that's about all it is. It's not like I'm getting rich off the book. I mean, if you buy it, yes, it helps support our channels and our videos, but they sell for $10 on Amazon. Amazon takes 30%. It's like $9.95 right now, so I get $6.95 for every book. It's not like I'm getting rich. I'd have to sell, hundreds of thousands of books at that point, at that price point, to really make a lot of money. So it's not about that, but people are really benefiting. I feel good putting something else, a creation, out into the world that I know is of value to people. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback from people that have actually read it, which makes me feel doing it was very worthwhile. Like I said, I cover a lot of things in the book that I don't talk about in my videos because I'm not interested in doing a video about this. I started this channel as a personal channel, as a hobby, and it's not going to go on forever, definitely. I'm not as enthralled as I used to be in many ways. What I really love doing on YouTube is just doing these live chats with you guys, hanging out with you guys. I get a chance to be the most myself. And also, I don't have to try and worry about making a video that has good pacing and is very artistic. This is just hanging out. I get to be myself with you guys.
And one thing about the book is that I always share this on live streams, and whenever I have a chance to, is that every day we receive a lot of questions from viewers, everyone, not only from America, but just all over the world, asking for travel tips, safety advice, and visiting the Philippines, even visa questions, dating advice, and the like. So, plus, Travis has this huge, very significant amount of experience that, of course, he loved to share with you guys. And so, the whatever he shared in the book are really is there a lot are really very helpful, and it's not something that you'd say, oh, I can just easily find it online. But there's a difference between theoretical knowledge and hands-on experience, and what he's sharing is what he learned from experience. So he's sharing it with you through the book.
Would you like more books about the Philippines? I don't know if that's a subject that I would really want to do books about, unless it's because maybe people want to know some things and I wouldn't want to do a video about them. At this point, I don't really know if I want to do videos about the Philippines anymore. So, I mean, especially people don't really seem to be into it as much as they used to. So, there's other things I might rather do. Like maybe to do a video taking Imabel to my old building that I used to live and work in.
Or maybe it's just because this is another thing. It's just because most of our subscribers and viewers don't really get to see the new stuff we have on our channel, because they don't really get updates about new videos and stuff.
Well, that was the big scandal with YouTube that broke this week. I knew this has been going on for months, even potentially years. YouTube is basically deprioritizing the subscriptions of YouTube. They're basically very close to getting rid of subscriptions altogether. When you release a video, they don't show all your subscribers that anymore. This has been increasing. This is really a couple of years. This has probably been going on, but as time has been going on, it's been getting more and more obvious. More and more people have been noticing it, and YouTube's been more and more honest about, we don't really show all your subscribers your videos anymore. And this week they had a little bit of a scandal. I don't think they would call it a scandal, but a lot of the users feel this is a scandal, where they openly admitted that they're doing some beta testing with not showing your subscribers your videos when you click on the subscription, because it goes in a chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get rid of that. So basically, YouTube is admitting that they're starting to basically shadow ban certain users. They can say, hey, we don't want your own. Basically, YouTube's saying you're only going to see the content we want you to see, not to the channels you necessarily subscribe to. So I mean, what does it matter if you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and maybe they send your video to 1,000 people that actually subscribe to you? It's that's why we need a new platform. That's the problem with this. And I just scrolled. Were you on something that you want to address?
Nothing really. Let me see. Michael C. Poker is from San Diego. He said, not LA.
You're from San Diego. How about we come and visit you? Would that be okay with you? Maybe.
How many hours is it to go to San Diego from LA?
Well, from LA it would be. I think it's only a little bit over 100 miles, which you'd think would be around an hour and a half. But with traffic, I think it's about a 3-hour drive to San Diego.
Just give me the approximate travel time and not the distance.
maybe we'll be in San Diego one of these days. So Paul says, how about an audiobook? Yeah, I was going to release an audio version of my book because I know some people learn better that way as opposed to reading. And maybe it's a little easier. They can just listen to it in their car.
Oh, Paulus,
so possibly.
When we'll have the audiobook? Are you going to get one? Thank you for that.
Possibly.
Let's see. Anthony Glass is often family that wants a church wedding for whatever reason. My wife and I were married 27 years ago, civil, but my mother-in-law wants us married in church.
So did you also get married in a church in addition to your civil wedding?
Well, we actually got blessed by our pastor, but of course, for family,
for the legal thing,
the civil. Of course, it's more. We want to renew our vows, just so our parents, especially on his side, will be there, will be around to witness it. So that's more. That's we want to do it like for them.
We got a comment here. Andreas says, YouTube is starting to look like North Korea. Yeah, that's what's going to be next. Not only are they not going to show your videos to your subscribers, if you say something they don't like, they're going to give you the death penalty. Better make sure we have tight security here where we live. Some Google employees might come here and try and take us out.
Yeah.
Just think, Google's even more evil than MS-13. Think about that. If you thought MS-13 were animals, well, you should see the people that are running, this site.
Well, this is cool. For an audiobook, we already have Merry Christmas and Paul S. to buy it. So thank you for that. And thank you, Michael. He said, yes, you can meet if you're here. Let's see.
Well, it's funny because Google, their slogan, I don't know if it still is, but it used to be don't be evil or something like that. Do no evil, don't be evil, something like that. And right away that raises a red flag for me because I think they're going around saying don't be evil. Mm-hmm. Well, the only person, if they were a person, they're a corporation, the only kind of person that I know that would go around saying something like don't be evil is a guy that's doing some really evil stuff. So anyone that goes around saying stuff like that is not to be trusted. Mm-hmm. And now we know what everything's about. They're all trying to brainwash us. And I mean, these aren't some kind of conspiracy theory. This is stuff that every week it gets more and more out in the open, and they don't really try and hide it so much anymore.
Mm-hmm. Let me read Ray Alessandro's comment. We're here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's 90 degrees and sunny today.
Wow.
What's that in Celsius?
It'd be 30, about a little over 30.
Wow. A lot of our hotel guests are on the beach, but the ocean is still a bit cold in May and too calm to surf. And that's good, right? If it's so hot, then it's good to swim.
But the ocean is really cold. I guess the ocean there hasn't really warmed up yet. It's kind
Isn't
of,
is it a nice temperature for to swim? Like if it's too
but it can be
hot,
really cold, I think, the
oh,
water,
like you'll
especially.
freeze. What? Like you're gonna you can't really endure it. What?
Yeah, I think so. I
Oh,
mean, maybe he could talk a little bit more about that.
now
But even in
I'm
Southern
curious.
California, a lot of the times, definitely during the winter, it's too cold to go in without a wetsuit on, like if you're going to go surfing.
Okay, okay.
In the summertime, it's not as bad, but it's not that warm. It's not like getting in the ocean here where you get in the ocean and the water's warm. In California, even in the summertime, you get in and it's fairly cold. I mean, it's not like you're in pain. It's not to that point, but definitely in the winter, you can't go in the water without a wetsuit on. In San Francisco in Northern California, I think the water's always cold. So if you're gonna go surfing up there, you have to have a wetsuit on.
Wow. Okay, can I go up?
You scroll down.
Okay. Let's see.
Let me see.
Go ahead.
Merry Christmas says he'll get an audiobook.
Yeah, I already read that.
We might release some physics. Why don't you grab
Okay, hold on. We haven't
the
seen this
thing?
last week, right?
Maybe they weren't watching.
Oh, we did. Did we?
We showed it last week, but some of these people weren't there last week.
Yeah.
Cowboy says, "Watch it, Travis, or this video won't make it on here." June is in the summer. He's in San Diego. Says the beaches here are nice. We got Bama lives in Cebu, and he's been living in the Philippines for 2.5 years. He says he loves us. Well, we're very touched to hear that, my friend. Let me see. I'm trying to read these real fast. Christopher DeBona. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Very glad you're here.
Thank you, Chris.
Glad you could
He's
join us
also
again
part
this
of our
week.
Patreon family.
I would buy the audio version. I got married in the Philippines and was a church wedding, but he plans to renew vows in the U.S.
That sounds good.
Michael says he prefers swimming pools. I don't like the beach. I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same way. Jimmy says hello to you, not to me. Paul says Emmabelle. Her name's actually Immabelle, but I can see it's a hard name because it's not a common name.
That's okay.
So I can see how you could. Is it possible for a young lady 27 to work in Metro Manila without completely finishing her bachelor degree? Yes.
Of course. It just depends on the kind of job that the person would like to apply. But
Yeah.
I have been seeing on Facebook, like you see, a lot different ads and stuff. I saw one that says they accept high school graduates for a call center position.
Well, that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
For a call center position, you don't even need a degree.
Yeah, it's in Quezon City, I think.
I'm sure you have to have good English to do.
Oh
a
yeah,
job
of course.
Like
If your clients are in the U.S. or say in the U.K. or in Australia, then you should have the skill to. You should have great communication, English communication.
Tyler
skills.
says hi. Hi, Tyler. Well, okay, I'm going to show this, and this is actually a hardcover version of my book. We only have an e-version available on Amazon right now, but I hear a lot of people are really into the e-books. A lot of people these days I hear actually prefer the e-books. This is kind of a prototype, a hardcover. Hear that? A hardcover version, and it's actually a very beautiful book, actually. So maybe we'll have a limited run of these at some point. I don't know. This is kind of a prototype. You can see it's not like the thickest book, but I did that intentionally so you can actually get the information you need quick. And there's other stuff in here too, I think that would just really help you in life in general, mainly chapter 2. I think you can apply to all areas of your life. So this is the back, showing you guys that. Let me open this up, go through it. Here's the back. Oh, look at that. That's the back inside cover. But very beautiful. Immabelle had this print, like we have a few of these in prototypes right now, but Very beautiful, nice job. Like I said, there's only an e-version available right now on Amazon, but I'm hearing from so many people, especially younger people, that they prefer e-versions because it's easy to travel. They can read them while they're commuting, especially for some books that are like super thick books. They'd never want to carry those around. So like, I guess that's the day and age we live in. This is just
I
normal
was
now.
actually talking to Travis about it. When we, for God's grace, we go back to America, perhaps we could bring some copies of the hard copies, and if you guys want to order in advance, you let us know so we could do that. We could send, mail you the book if you want to order one, like the hard copy. Although it's online anyways.
Joe S says, I'd buy a hardcover version. Yeah, I'd like to release at least a limited run, but especially when you do a limited run, they cost a lot more than if you make a million per book. So we'd have to charge more for it to be at all economically viable to
Hmm.
do. But I think they'd be a really nice, even, just collector's item for people, things that you can have lying around and refer to. And this is the kind of book that, like I said, since it is short and straight to the point, you can easily read it more than once and you might pick up on things that you didn't get the first time. I've heard from a few people they've enjoyed reading it even 2 or 3 times. Let me see here. Let me see here. Uh, the cowboy says, you guys might have already said, and I just missed it. Are you guys coming back to the Philippines? Who, us? I'm just wondering because we've been getting this question a lot. Where do you guys think we are right now
Maybe
is my
maybe they've
question to you
seen the
guys.
the vlogs in the U.S. recently.
It's kind of funny because when some people they watch a video, like for instance, my first viral video, the adobo video, which was almost 11 years ago when I posted that, people will watch that today and they think I just did it. They don't realize there's underneath the video there's an uploaded date and you can't change that. So, like, but people when they watch a video, they watch even older videos and it's like they think they're live or they just happened and you
Mhm.
just record and put it on. Just because you saw a video doesn't mean it just happened. So keep that in mind. But I'm
Well,
just
to
curious.
answer the Philippine Cowboys question,
But I'm just well, that's my question. Where do you guys think we are right now? Like I said, you can kind of see it's probably nighttime unless we're just in a dark room with no windows. You can see it's probably nighttime, so we must be somewhere in the eastern hemisphere because if we were in the western hemisphere, we'd probably have some daylight coming in through a window right now. So I think
Jimmy
we're
Joy
somewhere.
said, "I thought you were in South Dakota."
I'm not in South Dakota, but I have a relative that just moved to South Dakota. I'm not from South Dakota. I'm from North Dakota, the better Dakota, but I'm biased.
You love your own. Christopher De Bono, when you going to the U.S., will you be staying there? Okay. I Hold on. I think I haven't responded to Chris's message yet.
No, I did. I did the other day.
Okay.
I sent him a message through Patreon
Okay.
the other day because
Okay.
he hit us up on Patreon. I didn't get a response, but I emailed him 2 or 3 days ago, I think, on Patreon,
Hope you got it.
answering one of his questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paul says he thinks we're in Metro Manila.
Hey, Ronnie Rodriguez. How are you?
He,
And
Paul thinks we're in Metro Manila. Well, I'll give you a clue. We're probably in the Eastern Hemisphere right now, somewhere in the Eastern Hemisphere. Could be in Australia. Good day, mate.
Jimmy Joy said, I hope you guys keep up with the videos. My favorite vlog of yours was with your friend in Samar. Which one was this? Was
I have so many videos in
Yes.
Samar,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure which one he's talking about, but it's interesting when you guys comment and tell us what your favorite videos of mine are. It's very interesting to see the responses, but in the old days, it used to be my adobo video. At least it probably still is from people from the Philippines. But these days, the common answer to that seems to be when my parents visit the Philippines.
Hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to look at. Hold on.
Well, we have quite a few people in the room, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we have
Thank
quite a
you
few people
guys for
watching
joining
live,
us.
so that's pretty cool. We're actually talking
Um,
live to people out there watching us, and we appreciate you guys spending some time, which for most of you guys, it's probably Saturday morning for you.
my eyes are tired, but it's good to know
I
that
didn't
you
even mean to
guys
stream this long, but there's
are in
a
the
lot of
room.
people. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the room.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me check.
But we should probably wrap this up soon. So get your questions and comments, and before we wrap it up, go ahead.
Yeah, NGSXXL. That's the Roman numeral for. Okay, I don't want
Maybe
to.
it's extra large. I think it's
Double
extra.
XL. Okay. Arriving in Manila on 29th of May. Well, have a great trip, Andreas. Double XL. Let's see. The Philippine cowboy. I have a question. If you marry in the Philippines, is a marriage license? Actually, you could. I'm not sure about that. I think if you there's a different marriage license you have to get from here if you want to get married here, and a different one that you have to get if you want to be married in America. But if you're already married here, then you could just apply for a spousal visa.
Cowboy says he hasn't seen our vlogs in a while. Well, we've had a lot. We've had a lot of new videos lately. You got after the live stream, go to the channel and check out the newest uploads. I'm sure you'll find some things you like. And we're going to be dropping that new video, even if it's going to upset some people. I'm going to have a new exclusive video for people supporting us on Patreon, which if you want to do that, the link is in the description. So, but watch out for that new vlog. I think it's going to be a really good one. I don't know if a lot of people will watch it. Some people might get upset by it. Some people are going to be very understanding. I think it's going to help some people. Hopefully, it also entertains some people. Like I said, the first 2/3 are focused on the entertainment aspect, and then we get into the heavy issue at the end.
Red Alessandro said, I met Miss North Dakota when she was here competing last year. Of course, now she is Miss America. Wow.
Yeah, she's from my hometown. But she's not the big celebrity from there. The big celebrity from my hometown right now is Carson Wentz, who was the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't really follow football. I have no interest in it, but
I think
everyone's
she's
crazy for
really
him.
big to pageant enthusiasts.
There's not many in the U.S.,
That's a thing in the
especially
Philippines.
compared to football
Yeah.
enthusiasts in America.
Filipinos are into beauty pageants.
Ronnie says, I love the slap video. Yeah, that was a short video. I really like that one too. Most of you people probably don't even know what he's talking about, but that was a very good video. It's on this channel. I think it might be called The Slap. I don't know, but you can search my channel for that later. There's even a search function where you just type in a keyword and things will come up off of that. But that was a good video. I'm glad to hear that he really liked that video. That's a few years old now, that video. Black Waltz says, I missed the beginning of your stream. What is the future of the content you want to make? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I have a few ideas of things that I want to do. Some stuff I've even already shot, and I was thinking about not uploading them because maybe my audience wouldn't like them. But I'm going to do it anyways and just say, who cares? Who cares? As long as it comes out good and it's a good video, I'll share it. Matt says, I think my favorite videos in general are when you can see people's first reaction to entering the Philippines. Possibly why your parents' videos are popular. Yeah, I think you're right. I think people do love watching that aspect. Like my friend Doug or my parents or my cousin when he came. My cousin was just here for a third trip to the Philippines, but we don't have any videos of that actually.
Anthony Glass said, my favorite series of yours was when your parents came to the Philippines. My favorite standalone video was The Story of Us. When you were filed or shot by TFC.
Profiled
Okay.
by the Filipino channel. You know what's weird? I don't think that segment ever aired with us even.
I don't really know. I didn't get an update.
The
on the
producer,
airing date.
I think the producer that produced that switched departments or something, because they're owned by a channel called ABS, and I think he started working for regular ABS, and he doesn't even know if it aired or not because he started working, I think, in another department.
He has gotten so busy with other projects, actually.
So I don't know that ever aired. So it's a good thing we shot a behind-the-scenes video where we talk about it, and that video got like 90,000 views, which I'd say is a lot. People hearing our story, for those that are curious, and so many people it seems are curious, that answers a lot of questions for them. We got Kenneth checking in from Kentucky. I used to have a roommate from Kentucky when I lived in Michigan for like a few months. Let me see. I'm trying to see.
Christopher DeBona said, my favorite videos are your parents' videos and the street videos. Actually, the street videos are...
We have a playlist of that that you can check out on the channel.
Shooting the man on the street videos takes more time, takes longer to shoot. Yeah, it takes more time to shoot, to edit, and we're happy that you love them, guys. That's for Christopher. So, let's see.
Flawless Philly says, what's the most challenging thing you have had to overcome in life? Well, there's been a lot, and some of them I've talked about here, even when I was homeless for a little while, sleeping in my car at times. Those were definitely some of the hardest times, but looking back on them, they're also kind of fun and interesting times. I've definitely had a very fun and interesting life. I've definitely had a lot of hard times, but we all do. I heard someone say recently, I think this is a quote from that someone originally said in the 1800s, where they said, everyone you meet has an internal battle going on that you know nothing about. And I think that's very true. Like some of these people that you hear, people that committed suicide, and you're like, oh man, geez, I never expected that guy to commit suicide. Well, that guy had some sort of internal struggle going on that people didn't see, people didn't know about. So, and everyone you meet, you don't know what's going on inside their head or what they're dealing with in life, what troubles. We tend to just assume everyone we meet has everything honky-dory, I think. Especially Americans. One thing about Americans I've noticed, they have the attitude that the grass is always greener someplace else. And they're always looking at what others have. And then you go to a third world country, a poor country, it doesn't matter if it's Philippines, Brazil, whatever. You see some people and you're like, wow, these people really have nothing. We really are quite lucky to be born in a place like the United States where our poor people would seem like rich people compared to the poor people in some of these other countries.
We have some interesting comments.
Kevin's coming in from Connecticut. I used to have a roommate from Connecticut too. When I had a roommate from Connecticut, part of the time I lived in Koreatown actually.
He loves dog visiting the Philippines and your parents visiting the Philippines. That's what he said. Okay, I guess you've seen this, but Christopher DeBono shared something about spousal visa. He said it's very long, and the Trump admin has made it take longer. Been waiting for approval for 6 months now. Takes a little over a year for the entire process. We know someone who also waited that long, I guess. That's how it is these days. But if it's for the good of everyone, I don't know if it's really for the good of everyone. But of course, long wait is a long wait. It's not really cool to wait, but
it's not fun. Definitely, we understand that.
It will be worth the wait. So, well, I'll be praying for you guys.
John says, I'm concerned about my girlfriend. I can't get her to take care of her health. Any suggestions? Well, that's a hard one because if someone doesn't want to do something, you can't get them to do it. People only do what they want to do in life. And I remember my dad used to say, you can't make someone want to be a champion. I mean, you can't make someone a champion, meaning they have to want to be a champion. You can give them access to the best training, all the best nutrition, whatever, but they have to have the mentality that they want it. They have to want it, and you can't make someone want something, have a desire for something. You can encourage it, but that's what I would suggest to you. Just find ways to encourage it. I'm not really sure what she's doing that's bad for her health, unless she's like smoking or doing drugs or alcoholic or something like that.
Well, John, I understand how that you just really care for your girlfriend, but your question makes me wonder: is it because is it something like she doesn't want to really take care of her health because it means she has to go to a doctor for consultation, and does that mean it's expensive and all that, or is he just not responsible to really be healthy? Because to be healthy does not only benefit you, but of course herself and her family, the people around her. So hopefully she really listens to you.
Yeah, that's something that could mean a lot of different things.
John, I understand.
But we've been going on for quite a while. I suppose we should wrap this up. So, any last words, Isabel? Is she asleep?
Yes,
All right.
Saki
I'll go check on her.
is a
real quick.
sleeping beauty. Yeah, well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us on this live stream. Once again, if you are not able to start the live stream, I'm trying to look taller. Travis is taller than me, of course. Hopefully, the recording is complete so you can still watch what you have missed. And super duper thank you to all the members of our Patreon family, the people who are supporting us on Patreon family. Thank you so much for helping us. Keep making videos to entertain you, to inspire you, and to inform you. We do our best to do that. And like what I said, we get a lot of questions every day asking for travel tips, visa questions, dating advice, safety advice to go to the Philippines, and a lot more. And of course, we don't have all the time to address all these questions, but the Patreon family helps us know who to prioritize and address the questions first. So thank you so much and feel free to be part of our Patreon family. The link is on the description, I believe. Anyways, it's patreon.com/craft. God bless you all.
John says she isn't taking care of her teeth, afraid to go to the doctor or dentist. Well,
Oh,
I don't blame her because
uh-huh.
that can be scary, especially if you go to a bad one. So I don't blame her. Uh, let me see here. Flawless Philly had a comment that passed by. Let me go back to it.
I already said bye, but let's try to.
Well, I didn't say bye yet. I went in to check on Saki. She's sleeping like a baby in the
Thank
bedroom.
you for checking on her.
So
Because it's really very late here now, and I just learned that I will be hosting a special event how many hours from now, and so
yeah,
I
we
think I
gotta.
also need to get some good sleep.
And Steve Dornbos, who also supports us on Patreon, he said it was a good time. I didn't see you. I saw you commenting before the stream happened, and now commenting as we end.
Maybe Steve is
Hopefully
at
you watched
work.
it. You guys can watch the replay of this once it uploads. You check out the other recent videos on my channel. So thank you guys, and good night, good day, and hopefully you got some benefit out of this and you enjoyed hanging out with
Till
us.
next
Bye bye, guys.
time.